Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing a pumpkin and melon farm for the console version here, because apparently this one doesn't work. The reason behind that is that in the console, when the observers here are looking at a plant of pumpkin or melon, they don't update when that plant grows. The console version doesn't detect that as a block change. They will update when the plant grows to maturity, but not when it actually grows a pumpkin. So we can't actually do that. Instead, we have to look directly at the block the pumpkin is growing on. And the way I've done this isn't quite as efficient, but it does work, and it solves a lot of the problems you might run into when you're trying to build this system. One particular problem you might have is, let's get an observer, and let's put it here, and we need a piston. So let's say we have an observer, and it's looking at this block where we're going to have a pumpkin grow. So let's grab a pumpkin as well. Cool. And when the pumpkin grows, we just look here to see the redstone. That'll flash, and when it breaks, it also flashes. So let's say we have a piston there. I think this will power it. When we grow this pumpkin, the piston's going to move and destroy it. But that movement also sets this off. So what happens? Oh, that didn't quite work. Let me actually build this up properly then. I think this should power the piston. I still have trouble powering pistons sometimes. Yeah, so now the piston itself updates the block the observer is observing, and you get this happening forever, which makes it actually fairly complicated to get a working system where you can actually break the pumpkin without getting that crazy loop where the piston continually updates itself. So that's what we've done here. So quickly, I've just built out the rail at the bottom. We have this string of hoppers going to the chest, and we can put hoppers at the side here going to these, and we will eventually end up having, this is just here for alignment's sake, having 3 minecart hoppers running down here to pick up the items when they break. You need 3 because sometimes in the system where the pumpkins go to either side, they drop in the middle when they do get broken. So we're going to need pistons facing every single spot where we can have a pumpkin grow, or a melon. This works for both. They're basically the same block, just with a different output and a different texture, but they behave, I believe, exactly the same. It's possible one of them goes faster, but I kind of doubt it. So we've got those, and we have water underneath them, so we can grow these. So let's just quickly make our pumpkin plants, and I need seeds that are not these seeds. I need pumpkin seeds. Grabbed the wrong one. Cool. So we can grow these, and these will be able to grow to either side. And so the key thing about this is it's complicated to get the observer to not fluctuate like that. So we're only actually going to have one, which is why you can see some pumpkins in there that were grown but not destroyed yet. We're going to have one observer, and it's going to face right there. So it's going to be looking at this block. So it's going to tick when I grow something there, as you can see. Now, as a result, we want to limit the way that this can grow. So we're going to put one block right here, so that this plant can only grow here. When it grows here, this guy will observe it, and we're going to hopefully break all of the plants, so we don't actually need this piston. Perfect. So here's actually the redstone behind it, and let me explain this quickly before I build it for you. Basically what happens here, the problem is you get 3 pulses whenever you have this cycle grow. First, a pumpkin grows, which pulses this. Then the piston's going to extend and break it, which causes a second pulse. And then the piston needs to retract, which causes a third pulse. And every time it pulses, it's going to try to extend the piston again. So what we have here, the first key thing, oh, we just saw it happen. We broke them all. That was actually perfect timing. But so this is a T flip-flop here. The way it works, I'm just going to build it real quick, is we have a line of redstone on top with 2 torches. We got a piston right here. These are not sticky, and one there. So what happens is whenever this top line receives power, it turns off the torches, which allows this one to retract, and I think then this one extends a moment later. Oh, it's when you break it. So when these are now off, so when I break it, what's going to happen is this one's going to get powered and push the block back over. And then when I do it again, it's going to go back the other direction. That's called a T flip-flop. And what you can do is have basically power being able to run through it when the block's in one spot and not in the other. So that's exactly what we have going on here. We have this block here, and when it's in this position, this can run through. I'm actually using this back block that's used to bounce the minecarts off of. Also, random glitch with the game here, but minecarts stop making noise whenever a T flip-flop moves. Makes no sense to me, because these were pretty loud at the beginning of this video, but then that flicked and now you can't hear them anymore. I wonder if they'll fix that. Kind of like it though, I hate my car noises. Anyway, so this block powers this repeater, which goes through this block to power this one, which can go through this block and power this cycle here. So what we have here is a tick shortener. Actually, let me explain this real quick. So if you flash this too quickly, if I build it again, it doesn't work. So if you have like a very short pulse, the T-flop-flop will not flop, hence its name. So let's see if I can do that right here. I can't do it fast enough. But that was a problem over there. So this is why this repeater is here. So when this flicks at its like 1 tick speed, you get a slight enough delay that it actually can cycle this system. Additionally, what happens there is that that way we get only 2 cycles per breaking of the pumpkins. Because as I said, we have 3 different redstone pulses here. We have when the pumpkin grows, when the pumpkin gets broken, and when the piston retracts. But if we can do the piston extending and retracting fast enough, those will both get absorbed by this repeater, and we'll only actually get 1 pulse out of here and 2 pulses total. Because ideally, every time the system runs, the T flip-flop will move twice, which is exactly what's happening here. So in order to get these to extend and retract very quickly, we need to shorten the length of the pulse from however long it is, which is going to be this extends, and we have an infinitely long pulse. So that's what this is here. It makes a 1 tick pulse. So basically what's happening is we power this block, which unpowers this redstone, which can power this torch. So this line will power, and that takes 2 ticks to get through both of these torches. And then 3 ticks later, because of this turns off, and then this guy depowers again. So this guy is only powered for 1 tick. So let's see if we can build that actually. We can put a repeater here. We can power this guy here. Stick 1 here, stick 1 here. It can be anywhere on this block. And here's our output line. So if we leave this at this length of power, then no matter what we do here, that output is never going to turn on. If we put it to 3 though, then it's going to turn on for 1 tick every time we power this. You can see it flashed real quick and then it turns off again. And it will stay off until we break this torch and put in a new line of power. 2 ticks would be if you put it to this level, and so you can just lengthen the tick and shorten it to however long you want. But in this case, I want a single tick input because that way the pistons retract and extend and retract as quickly as possible in this design, and then we only get 2 outputs going to this T flip-flop. Because that's what we need. We need this to flip one direction when the pumpkin grows and flip back the other direction when the pumpkin is broken in order to reset the system. And then it's pretty simple after that. You just extend this line up, you put it over all the pistons, and then they all extend. So we should actually, I'm going to break these guys right here. Let's grab a pumpkin. That is not how you spell pumpkin. So if I do this, it's going to flip, and then it's going to flip again, and we broke everything. And because of this delay here we have, and the fact that this is a shortened pulse, and we're using a T flip-flop, the system doesn't go on forever, because the extending and the retraction of the piston gets absorbed into a single pulse here, which resets the system and prevents the pistons from being powered again. So that's how that works. We're going to build this up right here really quickly, just so you can see it being built in addition to understanding what's happening. So here actually I'm going to go and get my hopper minecarts. So let's place these here. I need to place this block. Perfect. Oh, and I forgot to place blocks on this side. So let's just do that real quick. And I'm not really going to worry too much about how this system looks. I probably will build something up over it, but that's not actually important right now, and it will detract from understanding how it works. But so we've now got the minecarts running underneath that will pick up any items we drop. So if I like put one here, it should end up in here. Perfect. It's exactly as intended. So we can go over here, and we're going to use this block here to convert some power. So I'm going to grab this block, and let's do a quick time set day so it doesn't get too dark. Perfect. So now this is going through here, and we can place another torch, and we're going to end up having a T flip-flop right here. So we want this to be the bottom layer, and the pistons will go in and move this block so it can be in front of this repeater sometimes and not at other times. That'll go away. Getting too much power here. I need to place the piston right here. And I need to place another one right here. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've got this, is this in the position we want? No, because we don't want this to allow power through when the pumpkin isn't grown. So quickly I'm going to toggle it by powering and powering it manually. Now it's in the position that we want it. So here we're going to have another repeater that will accept the power when it goes through into the right place. And now we're going to build up our tick shortener. So it's going to allow only one tick to go out. You can do this like this. And put this guy here. Perfect. And then we just need our 3 delay repeater, and then we have our tick shortener exactly as intended. And then this will just connect to the torch like so, and we can build it all the way up to here. And then we've got our system. I believe I can just, how does this work? Yeah, so we've got, oh, this is what I need. We've got this here, repeater. Actually, we can put a repeater on top of a, well, on top of a block on top of one of these. It does work, but because we don't have a piston under there, I'm just going to put the repeater there anyways. So we can very easily put this here, run redstone all along the top. If you put redstone directly on top of a piston, at least in the Bedrock edition or Java, I forget what the name of the PC one is, it will break. So can't do that. I think you could, but not anymore. And do let me know if this doesn't work in the console version for whatever reason. I believe it does. I've looked into how the observers work, but I don't actually own a console, so I can't exactly 100% test it. So let's actually put this here so we can connect it. And this should work. So if I take a pumpkin of any form, I place it here. I forgot a very key important part. Actually getting power from the observer. So we need to do this, and we need to make it a 3 delay, I believe. Or does a 2 work? A 2 should work in order to get the pulse long enough to actually activate the T flip-flop. Perfect. So that worked as intended. As you can see, the T flip-flop moves over at the first tick, and then the pistons extend, which move the T flip-flop back. Additionally, if we try putting this at 1, let's see what happens. See, it flashes too quickly, and the flop can't move. So we need to put this at least 2, and that also allows the 2 ticks of the output. As we can see, this will flash 3 times to be converted into 2. 1, 2, but this only flashes once. Yeah, so that's the general design of how it should work in the console edition. It's not as efficient, of course, because you have to wait until this block grows to break them all, but it will break them all, and then you can just do simple things like cover the sides of this, and none of them can extend out. I used a lot of orange glass because I like the way that looks. And keep in mind, if you don't cover this block, if this guy grows there, then you'll never have this work. You could probably also put another observer here and either duplicate this or have it connect as well. You could have another repeater here, but then you'd have to do something fancy because you can't bring it over this torch. So you probably could have 2 observers, but that's only losing 1 block space. So that doesn't probably affect the efficiency too much. But we did grow 9 pumpkins in there. I guess probably 3 or 4 of them were me just placing it. But it works pretty well. And this should fix the problems of pumpkin and melon farms in console version. Hopefully they do change how the observers work there. They actually do observe different things, I believe. You can observe the different growth states of farmland, but yeah, this should fix the problems that these guys have in the console versions. So leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.